One-man racing this weekend that's got royal approval from His Serene Highness Prince Albert of Monaco joins me. It's Tommy Foster. Now, Tommy, you got the E-plate on your car now. You won that recently, I think?
Yeah, at the end of last year at Dunkswell Kart Club.
And that denotes you as the English champion currently, but you also won the O-plate several years ago in, I think was it juniors?
Juniors, yeah.
And that denoted you as the British Open champion. So you're a man used to be right at the front of the field, and looking at how things are developing at the moment, looking like you're going to be right at the front because you look like you're on fire this weekend. Is this a track you love?
This is probably one of my favourite tracks because it's one of our closest, and it just, I don't know, it really works and just drive at it, really fun.
Okay, and your association with Prince Albert, I think that's because of your father's relationship with him. Just explain how that came about.
I'm not too sure how it happened. I think it was Albert used to be in the bobsleigh team for the Olympics for Monaco, and my uncle was a coach of, I think it was the Netherlands at the time, and then they sort of met through there, and my parents came along and then they all met.
Okay, it's an interesting story, that's for sure, and if Prince Albert wants to invite the TDi Media team to Monaco, we'll be glad to oblige, although I'm not sure I'll be buying the crew dinner there.
Bottle of water, perfectly affordable though, Alan, £17.50, very reasonable. Anyway, Tommy Foster and Morgan Rose on the front row of the grid, Brad Barrett and Jack Mayall on the second row, Lawrence and Johnson, Davison Barrow, Ethan Haynes and Anki Stenning in there in the top 10. Big names further back as well. Keep an eye on Charlie Turner from the 7th row of the grid. We should see Luke Woodard charging through from 20th place as well. There's a lot of drivers to keep an eye on in this final, but is anybody going to get close to Tommy Foster at the top end? Morgan Rose will want a challenge from the off. Here we go. And Foster getting himself straight into the lead, although being squeezed there by Rose. Rose is through initially, and he is in the lead. Good start from Jack Mayall as well. Round the outside, initially second position, now third, and there's a couple of drivers coming a cropper. That's Aaron Yeo trying to get the kart started again. He's got somebody behind him charging forward. That's Jack McConnell. Oh dear. Very nearly straight into the back bumper. He won't be happy about that. I think Aaron Yeo's race is over. McConnell is trying to recover. And there's a couple of karts obviously facing the wrong way at parts of that lap. But out in front, it is going to be an interesting race, this one. It is now Morgan Rose in the lead of the race from Brad Barrett with Tommy Foster in third. What a start.
Yeah, when you feel the air on the back of your neck as we've got a change of leader. Brad Barrett goes through to the lead. When you feel the air on the back of your neck, you know they're facing the wrong way.
Absolutely. Well, Brad Barrett has gotten through into the lead, as you said, at one of the toughest parts of the course on the exit of that second hairpin, and then into the chicane. He did that one nicely. Brad Barrett taking a strong lead here in front of Morgan Rose and Tommy Foster. Jack Mayall still there in fourth position, ahead of the O-plate James Johnson, who of course is hoping to retain it for the second year running. Did a fantastic job in 2017 to bag that O-plate. Now he's got a much tougher job on his hands.
Yeah, he was delighted to do so as well. I remember that last year. James was beside himself with joy when he won the O-plate. It was the pinnacle of his career last year. Hoping to hold on to it. Bit of work to do. He's in 5th place.
But Jack Mayall is proving to be a little easy to catch, and he dives up the inside. There you go. The O-plate winner from 2017 is now in a P4. Now, if he gets some support from the guys behind, the leading three will not be insurmountable to catch.
Foster through to second as well, so Foster there, oh, beg your pardon, no, he's not, he's still there in third.
Yeah, but Foster has gained ground on the two in front. That's the big point. In fact, he's starting to challenge Rose, so you may be right in about 14 seconds or so.
Yeah, I'm getting confused, they've got the same suits on, I think, but yeah, so Foster's still third, but I don't think he'll be third for long.
Here we go on the inside. That's a big move from Gus Lawrence, making the bid, and it's going to go 3 wide as a result. Mayall is caught out. Lawrence just about hangs in there from Spencer Barrow, I think that is. Cole Edwards watching the whole thing unfold in front of them. So somebody else has pulled off the circuit just to the side there. Drivers dropping out like flies as we watch from the drone. Back down onto the main straight. The O-plate James Johnson's now got space in 4th position as Lawrence has made his way up to 5th place on Barrow. Barrow diving up the inside, trying to get through. Mayall will hope to get through on the inside as well. Oh, that was close, and they just about got away with that. Spencer Barrow, though, makes the move stick into 5th.
Great racing, 2 abreast going into the S's. That normally doesn't work, but it has done there. But the three at the front, look at this, clearing off out front. And James Johnson, if he's going to catch them, he's going to have to get his foot down. He's got 1.5 seconds to make up to the guy in front, Tommy Foster.
Speaking of making up places, there's Charlie Turner with the red helmet in the 5. He's trying to get his wave up the inside of Mail, and he obviously had a difficult start to this race, being out of position. He's got Ben Davis directly behind him as well, so those two are going to want to basically pull the driven, slice the lone Kip Pardew duel, and go 2x2. Hurrah! He dives at the inside of Mail. That's a nice move there, but he's not going to get it finished. Mail gets back, and there's contact further back. That is Ben Davis having come together with Luke Wooder. Two big names trying to charge their way through the field, and Wooder and Davis come together.
Yeah, they're out. They'll be right down the back of the field.
Well, that's
so
Foster.
No plate for
That's
them.
for the
Foster
lead.
for the lead.
Foster for the lead. So Rose and Barrett have been dueling away.
Oh,
Rose
he's
through,
losing it.
Barrett through, and that is Foster down to third again.
Third to first, and back to third, and back
Now
to
to second place, he dives through the inside. Here we go. It looks as though the senior Rotax final is going to be the race of the weekend thus far at the Rotax Festival 2018. A brilliant bit of battling from these three, but this is heavenly for James Johnson. That gap was massive. Now look, it's not so big anymore.
Yeah, he'll like to see them battling, because that allows him to get that much closer. Once you start battling, you're coming off the normal racing line and slowing yourselves down.
Well, Foster just gives a cheeky little wave back to Brad Barrett. Stop dueling with me, as up the inside goes Charlie Turner on Jack Mail. This time he makes the move stick perfectly, and that will put him up into 7th place. He's got a bit of time to make up now from Barrow and Lawrence as a result of all those fisticuffs a couple of laps ago. But now these three out in front are now 4 out in front. It's Rose, Foster, Barrett, Johnson, but Foster, a little cheeky waggle of the finger to Brad Barrett behind. This is not the time to be dueling for position, mate. This is the time to be getting after Rose.
Foster, this is a bad performance by Foster, judging by what he's done this weekend, because he's been clearing off in the earlier races, but he won't be very happy in second place. He should be well out front. He's been absolutely on it, I've got to say.
Yeah,
he's struggling at the moment.
It always is the way, isn't it? You dominate the heats and then you get to the big one, and for some reason everybody seems to have that momentum, whether that's nerves or whether that's people starting to work out what you're doing with your setup. But the final always needs to be the best performance. That's the one that counts, and Foster looks like he's trying to bid to add an O to his E, if that makes sense. Now the question is, which one would he run?
Yeah, and the other thing he's trying to do is create history. We've never had anybody win back-to-back British Open Championships O plates in the junior and then senior categories. He won the O plate last year as a junior. He's trying to do it this year as a senior. That has never been done before. We've had people win junior and senior, but after a period of years apart, I think 4 years apart, the last time it was done.
That's very true, and that's not just in this category, of course, that's in any category as far as I can remember. So very exciting stuff. We continue on round the final turn as this battle really is starting to intensify now. Oh, back to the front again, and there is Foster back in front. So he's got through on Rose. So much action to keep an eye on. It's tough to know when these guys are going to make the break.
Rose has had a contact warning top left of your screen.
Oh,
so
he
I'm
has?
not sure what that's for.
Well, I wonder if that was that.
A little bit of contact.
Is there just a little bit of rubbing through the chicane when they all went side by side by side? I wonder maybe, and they potentially thought it was Rose's move that was the catalyst for all of that. So Foster back into the lead, Rose in second, Barrett third, and Johnson fourth. But Tommy Foster, in his current form, is looking pretty sweet.
Now
Let's not forget.
from.
Yeah, here we go as well. Barrett is going to make this sweep up the inside.
This is what he did I remember watching Heat 3 earlier, and he just cleared off at the front. Very boring indeed. It was a Miles Barthorpe sort of performance, I have to say, and it's looking like he's going to try and do that again.
Well, Barrett into second position. That's actually brought Spencer Barrow onto the back. And up the inside. Oh, a little bit of a nudge there as Morgan Rose manages to force Barrow wide and into second place, and that's definitely going to help Foster check out.
Here comes James Johnson.
Johnson's going to make his bid down the main straight. Is there going to be enough momentum on Barrett? He just keeps an eye on him. He's going to try and chuck it up the inside. Here he goes. Is there not? No, not quite enough space. Barrett's well defending there. His Dan Holland Racing teammate is not going to get through on this particular occasion, but keep an eye on Spencer Barrow. 5th position on the 62 is a lot closer than he was. Johnson dives for his teammate, gets through. 3rd position for the current O-plate.
Great move. Dan Holland Racing here. These are the two DHR drivers in 3rd and 4th.
The drone has landed, so we're just watching those final pictures from the drone as these guys continue to go to battle. And look at this, very encouraging words there from Johnson on Barrett. Come on, let's go get him. Let's work together. Don't overtake. Let's just work in unison as they go through the hairpin up towards the S's. And dangerously for them, Morgan Rose has got a little bit of daylight between himself and those two. So they do need to work together to work their way further forward. Spencer Barrow in 5th, turning out to 6th place past Gus Lawrence as we know. Then it is Mayle, Haynes and Peter Griffin in the top 10. No Family Guy jokes, please. No relation.
I was just going to do one.
No.
Come
It's
on,
far
Joe.
too cheap. Far too
it.
cheap. Cole Edwards in 11th from Germ Hepworth, then Holbrook, Anki Stenning, Michael Cheek, Sam Baker and Matt Jones. So grid racing at the front, but it looks as though the next move may even come from Spencer Barrow. These two are going to work together. Barrow looks like he's looked after his tyres and brakes well. He's gaining on these two.
Speaking of Peter Griffin's mum earlier, she's one of the scrutineers this weekend, and I was asking her what happens when Peter comes in. When Peter comes in after a race, she has to go to the office or stand with the clerk of the course. She's not allowed to be involved in any of the scrutineering when someone comes in, which is obviously the right thing to do.
So they come off the turn again. Morgan Rose is struggling even to keep up with Tommy Foster. He's already gone through the picture. 1.45 seconds is the gap to Tommy Foster in behind him, Morgan Rose. So it's nearly a second and a half already. Tommy Foster has obviously unlocked the keys to disappear out in front, and it's going to be a very nice trophy heading to Monaco by the way things currently look. Look at this, Uncle, look what I won. It was a very nice moment for them when they all get together. Now, this is going to be an interesting battle.
That's Uncle Albert. I see what you did there.
Absolutely. That's Jem Hepworth on the back of Ethan Haynes, trying to make his bid to go through. Ethan Haynes is going to shut the door on Jem Hepworth, but she's doing very well actually, Jemima. Let's see if she's going to get through. Oh, interesting now between these two. I think Barrett is not wanting to work with James Johnson for much longer because that plan of his, let's work together and catch Morgan Rose, it ain't working. It's not going to happen.
It's not working at all. Looks like they're battling over the last place on the podium. One of them's going to be standing on it. One of them isn't, I think.
Or look at Spencer Barrow. He's charging after both of them. He can snatch it away from the both.
He definitely fancies the job with just under 5 minutes to go on the clock. 15 minutes plus 1 lap. So when you see the clock count to 0 and disappear off the screen, when they cross the finish line next time round, they will get the last lap board from the starter.
And Spencer Barrow is one of those important factors in a festival weekend like this. A circuit specialist. He knows this place very well, so he may be able to pull one over and pull the wool over the eyes on the Dan Holland Racing twins. Is he going to get his move into 3rd position? Well, if they are too busy focusing on each other, then they may lose sight of just how strong Spencer Barrow could get in the last 4 minutes and 15 plus the additional lap. But over his shoulder, James Johnson just keeps an eye on what's happening. Turner's still there in 5th, in no man's land to a certain extent. Lawrence and Mayle are still at each other's throats. Then comes this battle. Now this is the 75 of Michael Cheek, having moved his way past Anki Stenning. Meanwhile, Jemima Hepworth has moved her way through and made up a place. Now that is a move from Matt Jones. He gets past Anki Stenning, so that is a good move from Jones. The next one in the line is going to be Sam Baker. Now Baker might get his chance to come through as well. So terrific racing and great squabbles, not just at the front, but in the mid-pack as well. Now Jem Hepworth has got to the front of that queue. Can she now start to get after Peter Griffin, or is she going to have the problem of not being able to drop the likes of Haynes, Holbrook and Edwards?
Just say earlier, we were talking about television edits and edits for YouTube. Obviously, we're not having to cut the races to fit a TV time schedule. So you see all of the races.
Oh, what a move from Sam Baker on Stenning. The back end stepped out, big style, but he had the move under control. That was really nice work from Sam Baker. That's one heck of a move. You'll never be able to repeat that one a second time.
It was a fantastic move. I was just about to say again, Jake, what it does, the fact that we've shown the whole race, the thing that gets cut out of the TV edit, if you're trying to fit something into 12 minutes with all the interviews, you might have 7 minutes of racing in a 15-minute race sometimes. It's been as bad as that, where you've had to squeeze things in. The thing that gets cut out first are these midfield battles, so it's great to have seen more of those this year now that we are on the new television channel, which, let's face it, is YouTube. And I'd like to shout out to all of our subscribers, all 56,441 of you, as things stand currently.
Yeah, that's going to change by the time that these guys are actually watching it, though.
We're doing about 125 to 150 new subscribers every single day, and I'd like to thank all of you for subscribing. Make sure you click that like button and share, by the way.
This third position battle still getting very intense, actually, as the O-Plate Johnson cannot drop his teammate Brad Barrett for love nor money, and as a result, Spencer Barrow's just watching what they're doing. Now, this is a good opportunity for Barrow just to observe what the Dan Holland Racing drivers are doing. He'll know where they're weaker, he'll know where they're stronger, and he'll be able to anticipate it if he just looks after the tyres for another couple of laps, because eventually those two are going to go anti-team orders. There's no multi-21 with these guys. They're going to be battling away for that third position, and that's Barrow's chance to strike.
Absolutely. Got none of that nonsense, Formula One nonsense in this. This is karting, and if you're in a team, you're paying to be in the team generally. And that means there are no team orders. You don't want to take your teammate out. No, let's be fair about it. That can be. We've seen that before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have many times.
It makes for some interesting conversations when everybody gets back to the awning.
It's the only team order, basically, is it? If you're going to hit anybody, don't hit your teammate, because we don't want the fallout.
That's true. That's true.
And speaking of teams, there's the third man in the Dan Holland Racing top six, Charlie Turner, just going through. He's trying to keep up with these guys. If he gets past Spencer Barrow, then we'll have three of them. There's the other man in the Dan Holland Racing team charging his way forward. That is the 49, George Holbrook. That was beautifully done.
By the 11, lovely move by the 11.
That's Cole Edwards. He got onto the tail of Holbrook, so Holbrook got through and Edwards got through. Ethan Haynes, well, he's probably got rather heavily there. That's not really what you want. You don't want to fall out of the top 10 quite so dramatically as that. So there is your leader, Foster. Look at that gap now, 3.5 seconds. That's amazing.
I said earlier on, didn't I? This isn't a very good performance by Tommy Foster. He's in second
It is
third
now.
place. That's not what he was doing earlier, but as soon as he's hit the front, he's just cleared off. 3.58 seconds to lead.
Holbrook versus Edwards continues. That is for 11th position, and they're trying to drop Ethan Haynes.
Contact warning, Frankie Stenning, top left of your screen. Not sure what that's for.
Well, he's now battling with the likes of Cheek and Jones. Now that is... Oh, and he's actually nerfed him! He's actually nerfed him off. The first one was arguable. The second one, he's proper nerfed Holbrook wide.
Yeah, that will be some sort of penalty for Cole Edwards if it's been seen. It may be a nose cone fairing penalty, of course.
Dear.
That may have been enough pressure to push the nose cone back on the bracket, and that would be an automatic 10-second penalty after the race.
Well, that's no comfort at all to George Holbrook. He will not be happy with that one at all. He's managed to come through now in 17th, but here's the battle we wanted to see. This is the penultimate lap. They're going to go through one more time with feeling. They're not close enough to Morgan Rose to challenge for second place, but these two teammates, Johnson and Barrett, are going to be at each other's throats. Barrow may get an opportunity, and if they all end up coming a cropper, then the third man at Dan Holland Racing in the background, Charlie Turner, is there to pounce. Last lap, here we go. The O-Plate defends. He knows he's not going to get the O-Plate again this year because he's too far back from Foster and even quite a way back from Rose. But can he still get on the podium in this final lap? Bradley Barrett still swarming all over the back of him, trying to make his bid to come through as we watch the final stragglers. But is there going to be one final move? There is not. Johnson holds him off, and out of the final turn, it is going to be a victorious, dominant run for Tommy Foster. He is the new Rotax Festival champion. A brilliant run in senior Rotax. That's going to put his senior Rotax campaign right back on track. Rose, Johnson, Barrett and Barrow finish in formation with Charlie Turner in 6th place, Gus Lawrence ahead of Jack Mayle and Peter Griffin, and rounding out that top 10, it is Jemima Hepworth. Great drive from her as well. Amazing racing in that one, and Tommy Foster, considering his British Championship campaign has been very tough, that will be a real feather in the cap. And again, in the top 10, no penalties.
I'm sure a certain person in Monaco will be happy, but not as happy as you. What a fantastic victory. It's about as comfortable as it gets, that, I guess. Just talk us through the race.
Bit of a messy start, didn't quite go to plan, but just got back into my groove one by one, and then just kept setting in laps and got the gap. It was comfortable towards the end then.
I know you've got a strong family behind you. Who do you want to thank particularly for this win?
Thank all my sponsors for continuously helping. Prince Albert always being there for me. Half Racing doing a good job back in the paddock. And Wardier for their support.
Revel in the moment, Tommy Foster. A brilliant victory. The second ever Rotax Festival will finish in style with Rotax Max 177.